All right, good afternoon, folks. May I request all of you to settle down? I've been told that we have a rather tight schedule, so I'm going to try and run this like an MBA classroom. I'm going to stick to the board plan, try not to let things meander, and we're going to have fun while learning. Yeah? All right, so first and foremost, a very warm welcome to Dr. Devi Shetty. He should be here joining us on Zoom soon. The chairman of the board for IIM Bangalore, to Mr. Sri D.P. Agarwal, the chairman of the TCI group, Professor Rishi Krishnan, the director of IIM Bangalore, Mr. Vineet Agarwal, the MD for the TCI group, distinguished guests, faculty, colleagues, freeloaders who are here only for the high tea and nothing else. Thank you all for coming. Yeah? So today's event, which is the official launch of the TCI-IIMB Supply Chain Sustainability Lab, which is housed within the Supply Chain Management Center at IIM Bangalore, is a culmination of nearly 2 years of effort. It is a brainstorming session that Aditya, who's currently the CEO of the Supply Chain Management Center, and I put together lots of industry interactions, lots of brainstorming sessions, financial viability. After many, many discussions over the past 2 years, we are here today to actually officially launch this. And it's a culmination of many, many sessions and hard work behind it. As we deliberated on this, it was in the middle of the pandemic about 2 years ago when we deliberated on what was going to be the path for the Supply Chain Management Center at IIMB. And we discussed many options. A recurring theme that sort of came up over and over again were two themes in supply chain management: sustainability and digitalization. They sort of span across the various verticals of supply chains. They came across in every single discussion that we were doing. And so we figured that this was a great starting point, and we wanted to focus our energies over the next few years in discussing and building capabilities within sustainability and within digitalization. Of course, in India, the biggest impact of sustainability is in the logistics sector, right? Globally, the logistics sector contributes about 8% to global carbon emissions. And in India, 62% of those emissions come from road transport. So it should come as no surprise to anyone that our first and foremost partner in setting the lab happens to be the most visible leader in the logistics space in India, which is the Transport Corporation of India. We thank you for your generous funding, all of which, by the way, went to IIMB and not to me. The establishment of this lab over the past few months took on a rapid impetus, and today's event marks the culmination of this particular endeavor. And we are so happy to have TCI with us here today to officially launch the lab. IIMB is excited to partner with TCI, and we look forward to working with you over the next several years and ensuring that the vision and mission of the center turns out to be a grand success. Thank you all so very much. I will now request our distinguished guests, Rishi, Mr. Agarwal, and Vineet, to please do the lighting of the lamp.
Is some lady to do it?
Come.
You can come. Please come. They always auspicious to get a lady to do it.
Thank you.
Can you on please stand? Come, you also join.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm now going to request the director of IIM Bangalore, Professor Rishi Krishnan, to say a few words. Rishi is a director and professor of strategy at IIM Bangalore. He was educated at IIT Kanpur, Stanford University, and IIM Ahmedabad. He's the author of 2 books, carries wide and industry experience, is a management guru, he's a thought leader in management. May I request Professor Krishnan to speak a few words on the intent of setting up the lab.
Yeah, good afternoon. Welcome to this event of the Supply Chain Management Center. I'm happy to inform you that the Supply Chain Management Center is one of the very vibrant centers of excellence at IIM Bangalore. It's been in existence for, I think, close to 2 decades. And over this time, there's a lot of very interesting work the SCMC has done with industry, with the government, in terms of policy, as well as in terms of business applications. One of the unique aspects of the Supply Chain Management Center has been its close interaction with the industry. We have always had industry partners who have worked very closely with the center, particularly in the advisory council and also in giving several projects for our students to do. So it's not only been an activity where the industry has benefited, but our students have also benefited from the practical experience they have got from working on live projects from the industry. So I'd like to compliment all the faculty members and the staff of the Supply Chain Management Center for all the excellent work they have been doing over the years. And it's an exciting phase for the center as we are now moving into 2 new areas, as Professor Desai just mentioned. One is we're very actively looking at what is the impact of digitalization of supply chains, which is something that's happening globally. And the second, of course, is the importance of bringing in sustainability into all study and analysis of supply chains and logistics. So today's event, where we are inaugurating the Sustainability Lab, is an important landmark for the center because this represents our attempt to very formally understand all the issues related to sustainability, and I'm sure we'll see a significant contribution from the center in the years ahead. On this occasion, I would particularly like to thank TCI for their very forward-looking association with this project. It is thanks to their generous financial support and advice that we are able to initiate this whole lab today. So I'd particularly like to commend Vineet and his team for all the excellent work they've been doing and for their, very, I would say, wholesome partnership they have developed with us over time. A special thanks to Sri D.P. Agarwal as well. Sri D.P. Agarwal's brother, Sri S.N. Agarwal, was on our board for several years. So we have had close association with him and his family, and of course now with his business as well. So it's a very proud moment for all of us that we are here to inaugurate the Sustainability Lab of the Supply Chain Management Center. And on this occasion, I'd like to welcome all of you and thank you for being with us. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Krishnan, for the encouraging words. I would now like to request Sri D.P. Agarwal to please come and unveil the logo for the lab.
What to do? Just to go.
You want to share?
No, just to press it.
Yeah.
Okay.
On Zoom? Yeah. Okay. Okay.
This one.
You can double click this. Nice.
That is. Yes.
Dr. Devi Shetty, with your permission, I would now like to play the, if you were here, you could have done it for physically, but then with your permission, I will now play the introduction for the lab.
Sure, please, please.
Thank you. I would now like to request Dr. Devi Shetty, the chairman of the board for IIM Bangalore and a renowned cardiac surgeon and chairman and executive director at Narayana Health, to speak a few words. He needs no introduction. He's well known in the community, winner of several awards, including the Padma Bhushan. Sir, welcome. Can you please address the gathering?
Thank you so much. Thank you. First of all, I would like to congratulate the team which is just launching the TCI-IIMB Supply Chain Sustainability Lab. Supply chain is a very, very important foundation on which most of the developed countries are built. And as you are aware, we have a serious problem of supply chain logistics in India. A lot of good things are happening because of the regulatory changes, GST and few other modifications which our government has done. A lot of hurdles in supply chain is addressed, but there are two issues which has to be addressed. One is the sustainability in terms of pollution control. And the second one is the efficiency with digitization. As we know, every industry is getting digitized. I'm very happy to note that IIMB TCI Supply Chain Sustainability Lab will be concentrating also on digitizing supply chain, which will have a major impact in reducing the cost. We are trying to be a first world country, and an efficient supply chain management will reduce the cost of everything we buy significantly. I'm sure you will contribute significantly in that direction. India is having a serious problem of pollution, and large number of diseases we are coming across today are compounded by the problem of pollution, especially pollution added by transportation. And I'm sure the bright minds of IIM working with the TCI will come up with amazing solutions to reduce the carbon dioxide emission in the supply chain process by addressing the carbon dioxide emission from all the transport agencies involved. I would like to congratulate TCI for their generous contribution, and you have selected the right partner to make a difference. I can assure you, as a person associated with the IIM Bangalore for last few years, I would like to congratulate everyone involved in this project, and I wish all of you good luck and God bless. Thank you so much for the opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Shetty, for the kind words. I would now like to request Shri D.P. Agarwal, the chairman of the TCI Group, a well-known leader and innovator in the transportation logistics sector, to say a few words.
I think Dr.
Namaste and good evening to all of you. I would like to thank the IIM Bangalore team for inviting me. It gives me a great pleasure to be here today with Dr. Devi Sethi, who has dedicated his lifetime for serving humanity. I would also like to extend warm greetings to Professor Krishnan, Professor Desai, all corporate leaders, and our friends from the media present today. I am honored and humbled to flag off the beginning of an ambitious journey related to supply chain sustainability in IIM Bangalore with their vision of fostering excellence in management, innovation, and entrepreneurship. We have found a like-minded partner for hosting this lab. The Supply Chain Sustainability Lab will help the logistic industry in implementation of the green practices at the execution level. With a capable and professional team at the TCI-IIMB Supply Chain Sustainability Lab, we are confident of very positive outcome in times to come. I wish the lab great success. All the very best. Thank you once again. Thank you.
Thank you, Sri Agrawal, for the words. I would now like to request Mr. Vineet Agrawal, the Managing Director of the TCI Group, to officially launch the GHG measurement tool. Vineet is again a well-known leader in the transportation and logistics sector. He's been instrumental in moving TCI from what was a conventional trucking firm into a premier multimodal logistics company. His contributions have been widely recognized, and he's been, in fact, the immediate past president of ASSOCHAM. All right. Thank you, Vineet. I will now request Rajkiran and Aditya to help.
I can just. So, Dr. Devi Shetty, Dr. Krishnan, all the colleagues at the Sustainability Center, people who have come here today, including the media, to join us for this launch of this Sustainability Center, Supply Chain Sustainability Center. I think this has been a good and long journey in terms of we started work on this lab some time back, and we wanted some to first happen before we could launch the center. So we developed something before we center, so that when we are going to the public, when we are talking to all the stakeholders, we have something to show already. And the team worked very hard to launch this, to create this transportation emission measurement tool, the TEMT. So clearly, what you, if you want to improve something, you definitely need to measure it. And in today's day and age, the most important thing on the sustainability side is to really know what are your emissions. When we talk to our customers, when we talk to our other stakeholders, everyone has been asking us, how are you going to measure emissions? And if I can measure it, then I can mitigate it. So this has been a challenge. And I think today, as we are looking at launching this tool, we are definitely going to address two issues. First is that using this, what are the next steps that individuals will do and take, individuals as in companies, or even on the service provider side or on the user side. But more importantly, what is the path the country in terms of decarbonization? Because I think we have very ambitious goals as a nation, but we also have to make it ensure that it's inclusive. So these challenges will be mitigated along with the fact that we are going to do it in a clean and green way. So that would be a very important aspect. And secondly, these tools should become benchmark references and start new research and eventually use data more effectively. again, it's a pleasure to be here, and I would like Raj and the team there to come and show us a live demo of these features.
Good afternoon, and an abbreviation for Transportation Emission Measurement Tool. So that's a first tool of its kind that we are launching in India. As Mr. Agarwal said, that we wanted to develop something of substance before we launch the lab. And we believe that this particular tool would be really of use for the entire nation. So I would take you through this entire live demonstration of this tool. What you see on the screen is the main page of the tool. There are 4 parts of it. I will take you through all of them. There are 2 kind of a login which are possible. So one is a shipper login, and second what we call as a carrier or a transporter login. So what you see on the screen is a shipper login. And what I have assumed for demo purposes is that we are a factory located at Morbi, which is manufacturing tiles. And these particular tiles are getting delivered to various locations in India through modes of road, rail, and coastal shipping. So I will give you a demo of how the entire tool works. So what you see on the left-hand side, so this is the transactional part of it, where we can create trips. So I will create 3 trips. So we assume that there is a particular shipment to be delivered by rail to Delhi, a shipment to be delivered to Kolkata by truck, and a shipment to be delivered by coastal shipping from Morbi to Chennai. So as you can see on the left-hand side, so there are all the 4 modes are covered: rail, road, air, and water. For every mode also, we have tried to cover all possible scenarios also. Say road, we have intracity, intercity, refrigerated, courier, and cargo. For air also, we have domestic, international. For water also, we have coastal as well as international waters. For rail, we have right now non-containerized. We wanted to include containerized also, but somehow we were not able to get the emission factors or the numbers from Concor. So that is a work in progress. So let me start with, say, rail. So suppose we have a factory at Morbi. So Morbi in Gujarat to, say, Delhi in India. Say we have let's assume we have a 50-ton shipment to be delivered there. And so distance would be automatically calculated. What you can also see on the screen, so there are, the words are there in English as well as Hindi. So right now we have made it 2-lingual, English and Hindi. In future, we want to make it multilingual as well. So yeah, so we just origin, destination, the load. So we save the trip, which is by a train. Similarly, when we go to, say, we have a shipment to Kolkata. So again, we go to, say, Morbi. And our destination is, say, Kolkata. So suppose we have a 25 tons of tiles to be delivered in Kolkata. So, so as far as vehicle categories are concerned, so in India, there are about 150 truck types which are there. So that we have divided into 7 categories, depending upon the GVW and the payload capacity, and depending upon the motor vehicle rules. So we have created 7 classification of vehicles. So this particular vehicle, say, would fall in that what we call as an ultra heavy commercial truck with GVW of 30 to 50 and payload of 20 to 40. So we click that. So in that, the fuel type is only diesel. Had it been a small vehicle, then we could have even 4 vehicle fuel types as well. So we just save trip there. Similarly, suppose we have a shipment to, say, Chennai. So again, maybe we will go to Kandla port, which is the nearest to Morbi. And then we have Chennai port as a destination. And then we can have various vessel types. So these are all various vessel types which are there, which are possible. So here, suppose for tiles, it is general cargo. Then we what is the vessel size. So we take the smallest size of the vessel, and then let's assume the cargo weight is say 20 metric ton that we are delivering there. So the distance is getting automatically calculated in nautical miles, and we just save the trip. So now we can generate a report. So when you see the report, it will show you what is the emissions which are there from all the modes. And you can see the on the right hand side, this particular value, which is in CO2 equivalent. So this is the emission which is happening from all the three trips which are there. So this is the emission which is there. And this report we can now save, we can generate the report, and we can save for the period for which is it pertaining. So suppose it is for the month of April, we can save April, and we can enter the transport, the 3PL partner also. So suppose 3PL partner is a TCI in this case, so we can say TCI and we confirm the shipment. So now the report is available in two modes. It is available in CSV mode also and PDF also. So we can say save as a PDF also. So we can generate as a PDF. So this entire report is now available, and this report can be submitted to any regulator or any customer who wants this entire report. So, so this is the first part of it, where you can create all the trips and you can measure the emissions. The second part of the tool is the dashboard that we have. So if you look at this entire dashboard, we have month-wise emission. So any emission can map their emission on a month basis. On the right-hand side, you can see the total emissions which are coming from various modes. There is a sustainability score also. So it's a scale where we are given 1 to seaways and maybe 0 to airways, and somewhere a number in middle to rail and road. So the more the shipment are towards air, the higher is the score. The number of locations that you see are the hotspots which are there in the supply chain, what are the highest location and highest destinations which are there. So this entire dashboard is available for any shipper or any transporter to measure and look at their emission and take appropriate actions. The third part is the bottom part. So, but I would like to really highlight on these two things, which is the emission factor methodology and the distance methodology. So all the emission factors which are used in this tool are available. The entire methodology is available, and anybody can view that entire methodology. The last part of the is you can go to the previous reports also. So any previous report that you have, you can regenerate, reprint, and maybe in future you can use the previous report to create new shipments as well. Here we log in as a shipper, so we can have any number of transportation partner and we can report generate which is specific to the transportation partner. But if you log in as a transporter, it can be vice versa. We can have any number of shipper partner, and we can generate report for every shipper partner also. So that's how it is going to work. So this was a small demo of this entire tool, and yeah. So I would just request Mr. Rajkiran to talk about.
So good evening. Thanks for being here. So nothing much to cover, just more on the background of a shipper or a LSP provider. What are the differences between what we have in Indian context and what we have tried to create? I'll quickly summarize. So one of the most important aspect is that how is the emission factor calculated when you look at a truck or you look at a train or you look at a ship. There was always a confusion whether to use the US standard or the UK standard, which is called as the DEFRA. We have come out transparently what's the standard. So the first takeaway is that transparency in the calculation of emission, and we all can discuss and work out that. Second is to get an API into your ERP. So the endeavor is that can I get a .csv or any other format so that it is a part of your ERP. That second thing which we have worked out. There's of course a provision for electric vehicles and any alternate fuels. So that's another key takeaway. One of the key observations when we had In fact, I was talking to Kawakami-san here. He said, how do you standardize? There are a lot of customers here and we thank that they are there. They said, how do we ensure that the language is for all level of freight operators or logistics player or 3PL players? Kaise hum language easy kare? So that was the biggest problem when we started on the journey a couple of years back. So that's why multilinguistic tool is the endeavor. आप हिंदी में भी कर सकते हैं, तमिल, कन्नड़ा, any language to simplify so that entire fraternity benefits in terms of calculation and it is no longer a mystery. So the whole endeavor of the lab is to make it easy to the entire ecosystem. यानी हर आदमी को ये operate कर सके. That's the whole aspect. Finally, now I'll hand over what's next because this is a beta version. So I'll hand over to Dr. Aditya, with whom we have been working closely. Over to you.
So what you saw on the demo was a phase one of this entire product. So there are quite a few things that we have in the pipeline for the phase two also. So the demo that I showed to you was a unimodal emission measurement. Going forward, we are going to have multimodal also built into it. Whatever we have showed right now are the carbon absolute number. We are going to build carbon intensity number also. So that would be carbon emission on a per ton basis. Right now, the tool that you see is only for commercial transportation. Now we are going to build or we are going to measure the emissions which are even for on a per person basis also. So what is the emission per pax for air flight or rail or a bus and other things also. So that is another thing that we are next building it. So just to give you an example, suppose we hold an event like this, and there are people who are traveling by air also, by bus also, or by a car also. So then for what is the emission which has happened for organizing such an event can be measured from our tool. So that's another thing that we are developing. Multilingual Hindi and English is already there, but we want to develop in all other languages so that any person who is there in West Bengal, any transporter can definitely use it. And the next thing that we are doing is this particular tool is just to measure the transportation emission factor, but we want to develop a very, very comprehensive tool that can measure the organization-wide emissions, which is like scope 1, scope 2, scope 3 emissions also. So we have already developed an Excel tool, so that we are translating into an online tool, which can again be developed, which can be available to the entire nation and to the entire fraternity for them to measure it. And that is particularly directed to MSME sector. So that's next that is coming from the entire lab. So thanks a lot. And I would like all of you to really go and visit this entire tool, share a feedback so that we can really improve this entire tool. Thanks a lot.
All right, that was fantastic. Thank you, Aditya. Thank you, Rajkiran, for demoing the tool and showing us the capability of not what it is today, but what is possible. Yeah. I would now, we have a few guest speakers with us today, people who've been working in the sustainability space. I would now like to request Mr. Anand Ganapathy to please come and share a few words. Anand is a graduate of IIM Bangalore and currently holds the position of Chief Strategy Officer at Sun Mobility. Over the past few years, he's been extensively involved in the EV space. Anand, may I request you to say a few words? Thank you.
Distinguished guests, professors, ladies and gentlemen, honor, pleasure to be here. In the next 5 minutes, just want to share 5 points. In 2020, I was a delivery boy for Big Basket. My first exposure to EV and sustainability. I work with Sun Mobility. Chetan Maini founded it. We've done more than 100 million kilometers with electric vehicles in the last 2 years. Right? So from a sustainability perspective, I saw the bigger vehicles here. But the first point that I want to make is India's movement to commercial EV is starting from the 2 and 3 wheelers. It's obvious, but since I lived it, I can see the enormous traction that we have there. Why? Very low investments, low risk, great returns, faster ROI. Everybody is just moving on that. Nothing about being clean or green, just the economics. That's what's driving commercial movement in the lower cost segment. Very interesting that the most number of options that you have in EVs today is in cars above the 1 crore. Just as a point, right? It has nothing to do with sustainability and choice, but think about it. If you want to buy an expensive vehicle, you have the most number of choices there. Second point I want to make is in the gig economy. It's blurred the lines between what is a personal vehicle and a commercial vehicle. Last year, India had more than 1 million electric vehicles. About 900,000 of them, I believe, would fall in this blurred sector because I would buy a two-wheeler, but use it for last mile delivery, right? And the fastest traction we have there is in the three-wheeler segment. We have some customers who've done more than 150,000 kilometers on electric vehicles, seeing enormous advantage, telling their friends more and more movement. In the commercial trucks, we're working with one of India's leading players for the largest battery and swappable trucks. Now, just to also explain what is a swappable battery vehicle. If you think of a bike, an electric bike with a fixed battery, like an Ather, let's say costs about 150,000 rupees. If it had a swappable battery, it would cost you approximately 1 lakh, and you would pay every time you swap. It's like a gas cylinder, right? You just pay for that. So how does it help, let's say, for a truck? Suppose you had a large truck which costs about 70 lakhs plus minus. If you had a swappable version of it, it would cost only about 40 lakhs. In a Tata Ace equivalent, you could have a 10 lakh electric fixed Tata Ace at a cost of about 5 lakhs with a swappable version. Obviously, it's going to increase adoption. Pilots already underway. And in the heavier electric trucks and buses, like in India, we've seen even in Bangalore, big offtake. About 3 years ago, Sun Mobility did a pilot project in Ahmedabad, 650,000 kilometers on 18 Ashok Leyland buses, right? We're now commercializing that, and that tool that you saw, right? I'm sure we can add to the numbers on that tool. Last two points that I can see here. Without any subsidies, right now it's a subsidy regime. We've seen FAME, etc. If we need to increase adoption of electric vehicles without any subsidies, battery swapping is one path that will get us there. By far, next year, you're going to see adoption of swappable vehicles and a lot of introductions by large players simply because it'll be cheaper for each of us to go there. It'll also aid movement to net zero because of government regulations. We've already seen that in California, right? Net zero. In India, with the government having trucking corridors, bus corridors, with charging and swapping, we're seeing that traction happening. So what started 5 years ago, leading to 1 million electric vehicles and two-wheel, three-wheel, I see that in the LCV, MCV and HEV over the next 3 years, much faster than what it took for us to reach here, reaching 1 million electric vehicles. The percentage in the HEV will be accelerated much more. Right? Fantastic space to be in. And I don't know how many of you all have actually come in electric vehicles to this. Just a show of hands, please. Okay. Right. Thank you. I'm sure that'll change a year or two down the line. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Anand, for introducing us to the world of swaps in electric vehicles. I'd not heard of this before. I'd heard of swaps in finance, but not in sustainability. So thank you for doing this. Right. Our next guest speaker is Mr. Srijit Roy from IBM. He's a senior partner at IBM in the computing and green space. Srijit has had a professional career of over 25 years in manufacturing, business consulting, and IT outsourcing services. He's a graduate of, I think, a competing institution, so I will not mention the name. Yeah, so thank you, Srijit. Welcome. And
thank you. Respected professors, distinguished guests, and the audience, thank you very much. It feels a lot to be on the other side of the table because I'm normally used to being took me probably 25 years to be on the other side of the table. So thank you. Sustainability is a passion for us, not only in the organization, but that's what I picked up also in the last half an hour or so. I picked up a few words the professor said, Dr. Devi Shetty said, Vineet said. Spoke about digitization. We spoke about sustainability. We spoke about measurement. We spoke about data. There are myths which we are seeing in the client space when people are interchangeably using this. And those are the 3 or 4 things which I would like to articulate today for this audience, and happy to have a conversation. The first myth which we are seeing from even large organizations, where they're saying digital means sustainable. It's not correct. I'll give you some examples. The more and more we do digital, more and more we are using compute, network, storage. They all consume power. If you look at the data center data, up to 7% of world's power consumption is going to be only through data centers. 7% of world's power consumption, up to. Depends on which data you look at. There's an enormous opportunity for us to go and optimize that data. And even if we reduce 0.001% from that 3 to 7%, will make a significant contribution to this world in terms of sustainability and carbon. So the first myth, digitization and sustainability go along, but that does not mean that digitization means sustainability. The second myth, which we are seeing as we move forward, is everybody is talking about cloud. And it's a common myth that you talk to a CXO and they will say, I am moving to cloud and hence I will be more sustainable. Not fully accurate. The reason being, as you move to a cloud, I don't know how many of you are, I would love to have an answer. What is the utilization, an average utilization of a data center? Take a guess. 30%. Thank you. 70% of the time, it is not consuming, it is not doing any work and consuming up to 40% of the peak workload, the plated workload. I'm not saying a data center should run at 70%. That's not what we are recommending. But look at the fact that if we are able to move that, it's actually not 30, by the way. It's even the largest private data centers are running at about 20, 18 and 20. I'm not talking about the public data centers, which are Azure, AWS, they are at almost PUE of 1. So are we able to improve the utilization of the data centers while we digitize? Is the key question and the opportunity for us. And that's what I was talking to the team here from supply chain as to what are the research problems which we can articulate by which we can improve from 20 to 30 to 50 and hence improve the sustainability of that 3 to 7% of the workload. That's the second message I wanted to give today. The third thing which we are hearing, which will be, it's pretty nuanced, is who owns sustainability in an organization? I've heard it's right from CIO to CEO to CHRO to CSO. You ask, even the analysts have come back and said, it is the CHRO, by the way. The top analysts, I can't name it, but the top analysts are saying the CHRO is responsible for sustainability in the largest organization. The reason I'm bringing this up is all the CXOs, while they have gone and committed to a net zero by 2050, 2030, the onus now lies on the CIO to not only reduce the carbon emission of their own IT portfolio, but also to provide a platform and an observability across the organization to be able to go and first, and as Vineet mentioned, measure. The biggest challenge today of sustainability is we don't know where we are today. Scope 3, people are saying, and if you go to Europe today, if you're building a software, regulations have come in, you have to go in and say, what is your scope 3 emission? How many people, how many times have they come through, have used a car for how many miles and so on and so forth. So the regulations are coming. Until and unless we build such kind of tools and we are able to measure in a consistent manner, we will not be there. So what the summary of all this? While definitely, yes, supply chain, EV, I agree with you. That's what we call as in an iceberg, the front end, which you are able to see the part of the supply chain. But what we now need to focus on is what is unseen, because all of this is going to enormously increase the data, enormously increase the network usage, enormously increase the compute usage. That's the next frontier for us. How do we include sustainability when we are designing an architecture, when we are writing a piece of code, so that the code or the architecture which we are designing and putting into that data center by design consumes 30%, 50%, 70% less energy? That's the next frontier for us. That's where we are focusing on. That if in this, after this 5 minutes, what I had the opportunity, so thank you very much. If even 5 of you, when you're writing a piece of architecture or designing a piece of architecture, or you're writing a piece of code, if you think that sustainability is another non-functional requirement, then this 5 minutes is well worth it. So thank you very much for the opportunity. Keep sustainability in your mind when you are designing the system, because that's the next frontier. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Srijit, for introducing us to the world of IT sustainability. You've just made Aditya and Rajkiran's job a lot harder. All right, I guess this brings us to the formal end of the events. I have to thank many, many people for bringing this together. So once again, special thanks to Dr. Devi Shetty, Sri DP Agarwal, Professor Rishi Krishnan, Mr. Vineet Agarwal for being here, for taking the time, and for all your help and support in bringing the Sustainability Lab to a reality. Also, many thanks to Anand and Srijit for sharing your thoughts with us on sustainability, and the Supply Chain Lab looks forward to working with both of you in the future. I would be remiss if I did not acknowledge the efforts of so many other wonderful people who worked in the back end to make this possible. First and foremost, Mr. Rajkiran Kanagala, the Vice President and Group Head at TCI, a man of many hats who's worked tirelessly with IIMB and has been truly instrumental in setting up this lab. May I request all of you to give him a big hand, please. Aditya Gupta, my consigliere, partner in crime, who's held up IIMB as part of the bargain. Thank you, Aditya. We also have many other champions of sustainability in our institute. Professor Harita Saranga, she's not here today. She's traveling, but she's a champion of sustainability in our institute. We've set up a climate clock, which is counting down the amount of gigatons that this world is using. So we have a doomsday scenario that is up there in the main hall at IIMB. I would request all of you to look at it as you walk by. We also have many other people, our support staff, all of the help that we've received here in putting up this event together. Thank you, one and all. Right. With that, it's a wrap. I will now request Professor Rishi Krishnan and Mr. Vineet Agarwal to meet with the media. And for the rest of us, I guess we can all go and have the thing that we've been waiting for, IT. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. No, please. Coming. Sir, please.